Christmas greetings and solutions, my friends. Welcome back to the Appalachian Outfeed. Just a real quick look at some projects we got coming up. Might be kind of interesting. If the frame's a little bit cattywampus, that's because we're kind of doing this on the side of the hill. You're looking at the back side of my shop, and we've got a few trees that have grown up here over the last several years. We got that one over there, and it's actually rubbing on the roof, and we got two things going on here. One is these may be eventually some kind of fall hazard for the roof of the shop. Maybe roots grow up and wreck the foundation later on, although I think that'll probably take a while for that to happen. But the other issue is that because this is the south-facing side of the shop, this negates getting sunshine, what little we can get on the shop. Negates getting warming it up in the fall and the spring. And just for all those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and take these trees down. I said on an earlier video talking about how sometimes it's more problematic to drop smaller trees. This is going to be a good test of that, because not only are these trees small, but they're also leaning toward the shop, and so they don't need to follow the shop when I drop them. So I don't know what I'll do. Probably put a rope in them and run a pulley out there and do the face cut, back cut, and then try to pull them over. That's probably the plan on these. So that'll happen sooner than later. The other thing we've got going here, if I can do this without dropping you guys. Should just turn the whole thing around. There's that cherry tree right there. So this thing fell quite a few years ago. It's been a while, and this is actually the first time I've come up here to look at it closely. I'm going to bring you guys up here. This is mainly to take a look at this root system, the trunk on this thing. Also, check out this seep up here. Like I say, this is the first time I've been up here in a long time. I'll tell you one thing, the deer love it up here apparently, because I can barely put my foot down without stepping in deer droppings, and I'm really not exaggerating when I say that. They are everywhere up here. Come check this out. Look at the base of that thing. That is that's something else. But what I may do with this thing, I was initially thinking that this would be firewood. I'll give you another shot at the trees over there. I was thinking this cherry would be firewood, but I've actually got a couple of projects that I want to do, and I've got the closest full-time neighbor that I have to me up here has a little portable sawmill, and I may be able to get some shelves out of this. I want to make me some live edge shelves, and that section right there, from there where that little kind of crotch is, where all those limbs are coming out, up to where it's cracked off up there, that might be just long enough. I might be able to get me, I don't know, 2 or 3 shelves out of that. That'd be pretty cool. And then do the rest in firewood. It's just not doing anything. What I'll do is come up here and take the saw and cut it where it's busted up there, and then cut this and stump it off like you would just a regular tree, but leave the stump there. Try a little bit of erosion control. And so standing here, I found this before, but seeing it now. So it's been raining the last couple of days, and when I say raining, it's just been kind of gray and sprinkling, drizzling for the last couple of days. But look at that. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a little seep going on right there. That runs down toward the house. And what we've got is the little white concrete block house structure right there. From the day we stepped on this property, we called it the spring house, and I don't know why we called it that. That's what we called it. And sure enough, if you can see, and you might not be able to, but in the bottom right hand corner of that thing, there's 3 holes. There's Roscoe. And so apparently that is, when this place was first built way back in the 50s, the builder, the owner, found a seep somewhere on the property, and they had a gravity feed hose running down in there, and there's a little trough on the other side of that wall inside the spring house, and that trough fills up, and that's how they kept stuff cool. And then the top hole is a discharge hose hole, so you got water circulating through it all the time. And then I think there's another hole up top, and it may be like an overflow kind of thing. So I don't know if this is the seep that they were using or not. I found another seep way over there that I'll show you in a little bit. And it's a little bit more active than this one. But that's kind of cool. Also, looking at the base of these roots right here, you see, man, there's some animals burrowing up in there. So I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll leave that to them. I'll be mindful of that when I'm up here cutting, that something may run out, try to run up my leg. And then lastly, look at the size and the age of this tree, man. I guess that's cherry. My goodness, this thing is old. And again, the root system, the trunk system on that there, right there, that is something else. Okay, so one more look at that. So this should be a pretty quick job, and this was what I was talking about in terms of, okay, I get it all cut up. Now, how do I get it out of here? What I'll do is I'll cut it in 8, the longest chunks I can cut it in, and just kind of flip it down the hill till I can get it to where I can work on it. From here you can see kind of the rest of the property. We are from here over to that fence line, that tree line over there, where there is an old barbed wire fence. From here you can see the wood pile we've been at way over yonder, and again, that's right on the property line. And then going on up the hill there. Up there is where deer like to hang out and graze, and they do that pretty much every evening and every morning. But they certainly come down from here as well. All right, moving on to the next spot. So just real quick, here's another log we want to get out of here. Put you guys where you can see. So just right up there, again, a little small cherry tree. That ought to be quick and easy. That's basically stove logs right there. Again, cut that up in about 3 pieces, flip it down here, cut it, stack it, we're good to go. Show you guys another thing that's kind of interesting to me. Is this old tree right here. I guess that's a fir that fell a long time ago. What is interesting about that tree got cutting on it a little while ago. I don't know if this is going to be a very good representation, but that's telling how long that thing's been laying there. At least 4 years. Probably a lot longer than that. Where I'm from, that thing would be just as rotten as anything at this point. Sitting out here in the damp for 6 years, it'd be done. But it is actually pretty solid. I started cutting the end off of it, and it's a little softer on the outside, but man, it gets hard in there pretty quick. So that's pretty cool. So I quit cutting on it. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, if anything. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Kind of a bit of a departure from what we see in other parts of the country. All right. So, what I don't know, we may take you guys up there. I don't know if you can see this up there. Yeah, we're going to take a walk. Yep, let's go. So this is a pretty steep hill. Just looking. So check that tree over there. All the bark's stripped off it. I'm not sure what that's about. But that thing is DED dead. And I suspect this smaller one right here is as well. Yeah, it's dead too. This probably all needs to be thinned out. But that's a project for another time, another year. Wow, seeing something else for the first time. Very first time. Huh. Alright, so I'm looking at that rock formation right there. It doesn't look like that's naturally occurring to me. I could be wrong. Thought maybe that was where that seep was, but I don't think it is. Alright, so we'll keep on. Oh. Funny thing about this, that three-legged coon dog would probably beat me up this hill if he wanted to. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. This big old fir right here. Again, that thing's been laid over up there for however many years, a few years at least. And it's all nasty hung up in the top there. Now the truth is, I could just leave it alone and it'd be fine. At whatever point it finally rots and breaks and falls through. I don't know if y'all can catch this, but there's a game trail right there. These deer rip and run through here. So anyway, there's our tree. And so the plan is whew, baby. The plan is to come in here and probably what I'll end up doing is going ahead and throwing a cable around the base of this thing, and so what I would like to do is take the cable it to a tree with my high lift jack. You can kind of reverse that thing and make it act like a winch. Get about 4 feet of throw on that thing. I'd like to pull it downhill. I don't know how it's going to work out. I do see a couple trees maybe I can hook to and make that happen. I have to get rid of all this mess right here. But anyway, so cut it here, try to pull it that way, and so kind of the idea here is I don't want to be anywhere around here when that top finally comes out. What I will do is go ahead and clean up some more of those limbs up there. I'm fortunate though, I can probably already see this, especially if you don't fall over. I'm fortunate to have that other tree, that about, I don't know, 8-10 inch tree the other side there. So when this thing does come out, it's going to lodge up against that tree and not roll down the hill and roll over me. You always, when you're cutting, whether it's this is fairly dangerous because you don't know really what all pressures and forces are at play here. So this is a little dicey. It's not too bad because it is anchored up there. Actually, the more I look at it, it's really anchored up there. I can already tell what's going to happen is, yep, I'll have to cut it and actually pull it that way, pull the top out from being lodged up, because it is hung up in there some kind of hard. That smaller tree at the base there, I think is still alive. And that's really part of the reason why I want to get this thing out of here is it's impinging on, 2 or 3 good trees, and they're hanging in, but I'd rather get it out of here and then let those trees do what they need to do naturally. This really isn't even very good firewood. It'll burn, but it's kind of a pine. So, yeah, I don't know. I will say this, looking at the base of it, you can tell still got a lot of roots going in the ground. I was up here the other day with my little chainsaw when I was cutting up that stuff I just showed you a minute ago, and knocked a few limbs off of it, and they're still green. You can see the little stobs over there. So I expect that when we get to cutting in this thing, it's going to be almost like a live tree, which is good. That means because dead wood, rotten wood, it'll let go at inopportune times and surprise you, and that's not good for anybody. So this one's going to be a bit of a challenge. I may save this one to last because I got the least use for this, and because it's going to be a lot of work. This one's going to hang me up for a little while. So, no pun intended, hang me up a little. I'm not sure. All right. Real quick, we'll take you guys up here. So I was up here looking at this tree, and I see this black water line up here. So I get to following it the other day, and I think this is actually the seep that fed the spring house, and I think fed was the water supply for up here at one point. This place is still the wilderness, and I mean that in every sense of the word. But back in the 1950s, this place was really far removed. There were roads and everything, but it's tough getting in and out of here, and surely, I don't know when electricity and all that came through here, but you can see water trickling right there, and that's all out of this seep. So what I want to do eventually, I don't really have a good reason for wanting to do this, other than me just being me. Ugh. So now you can start to see the beginning of this thing. I'm not going to climb through all this mess, but you can see how much water's running through there. And it runs all the way up. It's going to be somewhere just below that moss covered log up there. Right up in there, there's a a moss-covered rock about 2 feet below that log. I think we'll get to digging in there, and that's going to clean that seep out, and that's going to do it. But what I think I may do, and again, I don't have a really good rationale for why I want to do this, I just want to, is run this water line, if I can get water running through it, run it back over to where we were a minute ago. This is not the path the water line will take, but it's the path we will take. I'll show you where we were at. Ooh. So we were back down there behind the shop a while ago, and really about where that other seat was. There's a big spot that stays wet all the time, no matter what. And I may dig that out and make some kind of either plastic or concrete cistern and let it just, I mean, it's running, so the water line would kind of come down along the side of that hill, probably right inside that clump of trees. We're going to be working on that hung up tree, and man, it's going to drop right down through there. And anyway, just have maybe a few 100-gallon cistern down there of relatively fresh water. Maybe we just hook a pump up to it and water the garden with it, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Let it overflow into the little ditch that feeds our creek down there, and it'll be there if we need it. That's what I'm thinking about. So again, not a hypercritical application, but something I'm thinking about doing. Maybe a good time to talk about this and just kind of point this out. So today I got my wool on that I was pimping the other day, and it's really doing a good job. So it's about 40, low 40s right now, and I've just been kicking around out here. Got my little shell on. Probably don't need it, but it does help a little bit. And I feel like in fleece, I'd be burning up, just sweating that grody sweat that you do in fleece. But man, in this wool, again, I'm not super warm, certainly not hot. I feel like I'm in an air-conditioned room. It's really kind of cool. I need to maybe start selling these things. Anyway, just a note. This is my little wool pullover, and I sure do like it. And here again, just so you can see deer droppings. They're just all over the place. That's because there is a trail running right through there. I don't know, maybe you guys can see off in the distance there. All right, from here, we will roll over. So we were walking over to the next tree that's going to be looking at knocking down firewood, and my eyes fell on this thing right here. I love walking around out here in the wintertime. You never know. Every time I walk out here, I find something new. Every single time. Never fails. Didn't know this was here, even though I was standing right over there a few minutes ago and had checked this out earlier. Some kind of little cinder block construction. It's in a weird place too, because you know, this isn't flat enough to have any kind of structure up here. I'm gonna have to come back with a flashlight. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. A little bit creepy. But look at that. Big old hole. So I'm not sure what that's about. I see some plastic sheeting in there. I have to come check it out. You know, a good Boy Scout would have a flashlight on him, but apparently I'm not a good Boy Scout. Got my blade, Just don't have a light. See a little metal ring on the top there, like you can lift that lid off. Interesting. You know, we always think that we go to these kind of wild places and we think that we're the first one to ever stand in those footprints, and I think we're probably always wrong. There are some websites where you can go and look at historical, actually aerial photos where they got in, I don't know what they were, must have been biplanes or something. Flew around taking aerial photographs, and I found some from up here. I don't remember what I don't know if it was the 40s or 50s. Certainly started in the 60s, and even then there was up there was a landing. They had logged all this, and you could tell there was a landing up there where they were skidding out logs and everything. And somewhere over there, the old home site. So yeah, man, people have been walking these hills for a very long time. You know, if y'all hang around long enough, you might get to see me slide down this hill on my buttocks. Ooh, Lord. Ooh, ooh. Here we go. Alright, Henry's still in the backyard, so that's a good thing. Roscoe's still out running around, mad at whatever he's mad at. Ooh, Lord. Here I go. Ooh. Ooh. We're going to take you guys up what used to be a driveway here. Whew, man, here's treacherous. You ought to see deer make this hill. Oh man, it's like it's flat and just slick. They just do it like it's nothing. All right, so we're getting close to wrapping this up. So this was used to be an old driveway. It's pretty cool, but again, a little bit treacherous. So this is another old cherry tree. This thing's been down for, again, at least 4 years that I know of. And there you go. So this is one of the ones I was thinking, man, it sure would be nice to have a winch right here. Because if I did, I would kind of cut that thing, I don't know, up near the root ball somewhere, and just snake this whole thing out of here on one big go. I could literally park in the driveway over there, run my winch cable out there, and just drag it across the ditch, kind of over into the driveway, and work on it there. But I'm not going to be able to do that. So I think here again, cutting this thing in 8 or 10 foot sections, which are flippable chunks, and probably what we end up doing is just trying to get everything right here to this driveway, and I'll get my moped she called Flame over here with my trailer, and just, you know, work at it when I can and drag all this out of here. This is a lot of wood, and again, got some pretty straight trunk up toward the top there, what would be the base of the tree, and probably the highest use for that is going to be, again, some shelving to go in the house and mill that stuff down. So we'll see how it goes. First, you got to get it out of here. Gonna be a winter-long project right there. And I got this other blowdown right here. And again, this is some kind of fir. I don't know how much I'll mess with that. Probably not much at all. I'll cut it up since I'm here. You know, one thing I try to do, one thing I don't do is drag out a lot of dead wood from up here, because I feel like all the dead wood, and you can look up in there and see stuff with moss growing on it. I feel like that slows down erosion and eventually becomes dirt, which you kind of want. You don't want mountains to fall down. So there's a bunch of stuff that was cut a long time ago for the power line right there, and they just left it there, and I don't plan on doing anything with that because, again, erosion control and all that kind of stuff. All right, last little bit. This is the best look I've gotten at this so far. That's interesting. So I'm looking at this tree up here where the crotch is caught on this other bigger tree, and all that stuff hanging out over there. That looked a lot more usable from the driveway. Looking at it right here, just like a lot of work. I don't know. Ah, so those are torn limbs off that tree. Okay. So, I may get in here and just kind of clean this up a little bit. Just cut those limbs, let them drop so they're not causing any issues for that tree. I can't tell if that tree's alive or dead. That's one thing about the wintertime, man. You get up here, all these species of trees, man, when they go dormant, you can't tell if they're alive or dead or what. You better look at them in the spring and summertime, because when it gets like this, everything looks dead. All right. So that, if I choose to mess with that, that's going to be kind of a pain. And again, the worst part about that is it's not going to be very, very productive when I do get to it, in terms of what it's going to give me for wood, because I'm primarily after firewood. I'm going to clean some of this up, but this is really left to the deer all the time. You know, we kick around up here, like I say, in the wintertime. Speaking of which, it's supposed to snow in about a week. I don't know, you know how those weather guesses are, but I think the 22nd or 23rd, the forecast high is, are you ready for this? 13 degrees. That's the high. The low forecast that same night is 1 degree. And I will tell you, generally right here, we run about 5 degrees cooler than what the forecast is. So that's going to be an interesting evening. I think just ahead of that, just prior to that, it's actually, they're talking about snow showers. They had those in the forecast a few days ago, and they've taken them out already. So we'll see how that goes. But that'd be pretty cool, because that would be our first snow up here. And then some really cold weather coming behind it. So yeah, man, winter's almost here. Speaking of snow, so kind of the thing is up here, when it snows, everybody likes to come hang out and get way up on the top of the hill back there and get in your toboggan or whatever you call them and slide all the way to the bottom. I haven't done it yet, but it seems pretty legit. Looking forward to my first go. That will definitely make it on film. That's going to be a good time right there. I think probably the worst part about that is having to walk back up that sucker. But you got really two different hills back there. You got the far corner back there, which is a long throw, and it's pretty steep. But then you got a little bit over to your right is another hill, and it's not quite as long of a throw, but it's a lot steeper, so you probably get a lot more speed going. So I don't know. Hope we get to find out which one's more fun. We'll definitely try it out. So I don't know if you can see them off in the distance. There's old Roscoe. Well, we're by a wood pile. You can see the white on his face. Barking at the wood. And then you got Henry over in the backyard. See him with his white legs barking at Roscoe. He's in the fence because he's too dumb to get out of the fence. Roscoe, man, he's just an old street dog. He knows what's up, and he wouldn't let you take care of him, even if we could. He does what he does. We feed him and house him, and then he just does his running. I'm trying to get you a scenic backdrop here. So that's the creek I'm always talking about. Go with that in the summertime. It's up a little bit right now because of the rain we've had over the last couple of days. It didn't take a whole lot to get that thing going pretty sporty. Interesting thing about it, it can rain like nobody's business, like right here locally. The creek doesn't do anything. And it can drizzle here, but be raining off somewhere else, and man, that thing just about comes out of the banks. So something we keep an eye on, not that we can do anything about it, but yeah, that's creek life, right? So, all right, well that's enough yammering on from me. I guess that's going to wrap up this little installment of the Appalachian Outfeed. Maybe the next time I see you guys, I'll either be running the saw or sliding down a hill on the snow. I don't know which. I've got a couple of things I want to do, mainly just rant some of some stuff. I'm trying to hold off on that and really debate on whether or not that's even worth going down that road. But in any event, I got to turn this camera off and get back to the house and get busy. So, good talking with y'all, and we'll see you next time.